Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make honey barbecued chicken wings. So what we're going to do is preheat our ovens to 425 degrees because this is going to be in there for 45 minutes to cook. And we're going to take about 6 chicken wings here and cut them up into pieces. So you're going to need a sharp knife and you're going to want to cut these into 3 pieces, and the little tip that sticks out the wing, we want to discard that because we're not going to be cooking or using it. So we're going to go ahead and cut each one of these. Really need a sharp knife for this, and you need to be really careful because we're cutting through the joint and sometimes it can be a little stiff and a little hard to deal with, but we want to make sure that we cut it evenly and that we get straight through where the joint is. It's so much easier to cut through that part of it than sawing through a bone. So make sure that you cut each one of these up, and once we get them all cut up, these will be cooked in an oven. So you can do it this way, or you can actually go and do it on a barbecue grill, which would taste amazing if you wanted to do barbecue straight out on a barbecue grill. But I'm going to do it in an oven because that's what I have access to right now. And I'm going to go ahead and get these ready and get them coated with some seasoning and some flour and everything before we actually get to the barbecue bit of it. So that's why we need these cut up into pieces. And you want to make sure that once you get this ready to roll, that you get a really good coating of seasoning and barbecue on these as they're cooking. It's just one of these wonderful things where if you get their seasoning right, it just has such a great taste. So get all these cut up. We're going to get ready to do this, and we're going to start off with a half of a cup of flour, and this is just basically all-purpose flour, but we're not going to use it all first. We want to actually just use half of the cup. You don't need the whole thing. And when you dump it into it, one thing you need to remember is, like, we're going to bring this back later and bring the rest of it on when we're finished putting on all the seasoning. So go ahead and just put half of that in, and then we're going to add other seasoning to this. So we're going to add a half teaspoon of chili powder. We're going to add half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of paprika. And all this is going to work together to give you such flavor in this. So we're going to take something like a spoon, spatula, or whatever and mix this all up to where all the seasoning is coating all over the outer edges of your chicken. And as you go through, just keep turning this until you use up all of that. And then we're going to bring in the rest of that half of a cup of flour and dump it in on top of this. So you should have about 1/4 of a cup left to dump in here. And go ahead and just mix it over top. And then stir this in and get this really coated, so that way this chicken has a really great outer breading on it. So that way when we bake this, it's going to actually give it something for like the sauce to hang on to, but also as we cook this through the whole time, it's actually going to have a crunchy outside. So we want to make sure that we get this really evenly coated and that all that seasoning is all over the chicken, because that's what we're using to do this. Now I have a baking pan here. I've lined it with some parchment paper, and there's a reason. Once you put all this stuff on this chicken, once you're baking it, you don't want it to really set up shop on your pan. But if you use parchment paper, you can remove the chicken when it's done and you don't have as much of a mess, and that's the best thing about it. So we just want to line this across here. We don't want them over top of each other all piled up, and we just want to make an even like assortment of it across rows, doesn't matter what pieces are where. And then this is going to go in the oven, like I said, 425 degrees for 45 minutes. But we want to get this really cooked before we put the barbecue on. So basically this is all of the time that this is just breading going into the oven, and we're going to cook this. And while it's cooking, we're going to make up some barbecue sauce. So we're starting out with at least a half of a cup of whatever kind of barbecue sauce you want to start with that you get from the store. To this we're going to add a teaspoon of chili sauce. And what I'm doing is putting this into a plastic container I got from the dollar store, which makes this so easy to use. You can squeeze it over top. It's just no muss, no fuss. You just put your stuff in there. And then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of honey to this. And the best thing about this is, this was like, for 3 of these containers was like $1 or something. So this is really cool to use because you can wash this when you're done, reuse it for something else later. But once you get your sauce in there, you can shake it up and just squeeze it over the chicken. And that way you don't have to worry about, like, you know, having stuff all over the place. It's just easy to throw it in the container and mix it. So when the chicken wings come back out of the oven, we're going to use this to squirt over top of them, and then we're going to brush it all over. So just go ahead and squeeze some of this sauce over top of your wings, because mind you, these have been cooking for 45 minutes, so they're still hot. And we just want to get a good coating on here because these will go back into the oven after we get barbecue sauce on them, and the temperature is going to go up to 475 for 10 more minutes. And that way that'll cook on the barbecue sauce, but give it that kind of like that crunchy outside you want to get on it. So when you bite into it, there's a little bit of a crack to it. So go ahead and brush this with your brush, which again, this brush is something I got from a dollar store, which was $1 and something, but it really helps out. And it does brush this barbecue all over the place really well. So if you ever want to invest in some stuff, these are things to get. And once we get all of this brushed on, we're going to use what we have in our container that's leftover barbecue and go all over top of it again and try to use up every bit of this we have. And then we're going to brush it one more time. And then after that, it goes back in the oven, 475, 10 minutes. And then this is going to be done. So this is the best thing about this. You know, it's like not really hard to do, not a lot of effort involved here, but you get these amazing tasting honey barbecue wings that just are wonderful to eat. But it's really not hard to do. Now, mind you, if you needed more than this, for if you're serving a bigger family, you can double this, triple the recipe. Just do the same thing. Add more wings, add more sauce. It's so easy to do. Just double, triple, whatever you need to do to the recipe I just told you, and you've got it made. Same process on baking and everything like that. Same cooking time, just you get a lot more wings out of the deal. And if you're going to do this on a barbecue, cook time is definitely going to be different. You're going to have to watch that. But for what I'm telling you, this is for doing it in an oven. And this is something you do any time of the year. You know, it doesn't matter what the weather is like outside. You can actually throw these in, cook them inside in your oven, and have great wings to go with whatever, even if you have like game day or whatever. So this is really something that's worth investing in. And this is what mine looked like when it was done. And these have the best flavor. And I got to tell you, this is really a joy to eat. And I think if you try these, you just might like them too. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.